Let me ask you something. What if I told you there's just one habit, one simple change, that could flip your entire life from average to extraordinary, starting tonight, not next month, not in 5 years? Overnight, Jim Rohn once said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day." And today, I'm going to give you one discipline, a keystone habit, that will act like a master key, unlocking every door in your life. The one habit that will change your life overnight is this. Keep one promise to yourself every single day. It could be as small as waking up on time, reading 10 pages of a book, doing 20 push-ups, writing your goals before bed. Why does this work? Because the real transformation doesn't happen when others believe in you. It begins when you believe in yourself, and belief is built like trust through consistency. A single habit has the power to redirect the course of your life. Most people think transformation requires massive effort, big changes, or dramatic decisions. But in truth, it begins with something much simpler. One small, deliberate action repeated every day. That one habit can act as the spark that lights the fire of lasting success. It doesn't have to be complicated or impressive. It just has to be consistent. Whether it's writing your goals at night, reading a few pages each day, or waking up at the time you promised yourself, that one act creates a ripple effect. The magic lies not in the act itself, but in what it represents: discipline, intention, and control. When you practice a habit deliberately, you send a message to yourself that you are serious about change. You begin to take back control of your time, your choices, and your outcomes. People often underestimate how much power is hidden in small things done consistently. Success isn't created by random luck or wishful thinking. It's built by the quiet, consistent decisions you make daily. Once you choose one habit and stick to it, everything else starts to shift around it. It becomes a pillar that supports other improvements in your life. This one habit becomes the evidence that change is possible. It becomes proof to your mind that you're capable of growth, and that proof builds momentum. Suddenly, goals that once felt too far away seem within reach. That's why so many successful people attribute their achievements to simple, repeatable actions. They know that greatness begins with mastering the ordinary. Choose one habit that aligns with who you want to become and commit to it. Do it with focus, with purpose, and with pride. That one habit, if protected and practiced daily, can truly change your life overnight. Following through on small commitments builds something far more valuable than just progress. It builds trust in yourself. Every time you make a promise and actually keep it, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. This self-trust becomes the foundation for confidence, discipline, and long-term success. On the surface, it might seem insignificant to read a page of a book or exercise for just 10 minutes. But beneath the surface, you're training your mind to recognize that your words matter, that your decisions are final, and that you respect yourself enough to act with integrity. The opposite is also true. When you make a promise to yourself and break it, even casually, you weaken your internal belief system. Your mind starts to register your own words as unreliable. You may not even notice it at first, but this erosion of self-respect leads to hesitation, procrastination, and doubt. It becomes harder to set goals because you've conditioned yourself not to believe in your own ability to follow through. But when you consistently keep your promises, something powerful happens. You start to believe that you are in control of your outcomes. You stop looking for external motivation because your internal drive takes over. You trust your decisions, your routines, and your ability to take the next step. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. Keeping just one small promise a day becomes a form of self-leadership. It trains your mind to respect your own standards. Over time, those small wins compound. They create momentum. They remind you that you are capable of doing what you say. And once you fully believe that, you become unstoppable. All great change begins with one consistent act of self-respect. Beck repeated over time. Discipline is the silent force that builds belief. It's not something you're born with, it's something you build, one decision at a time. Each time you do the thing you said you'd do, especially when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable, you create a shift in your identity. You begin to see yourself not as someone who tries, but as someone who follows through. That's where belief is born. True belief doesn't come from motivational quotes or pep talks. It comes from action. It comes from doing the work even when no one is watching. When you consistently show up for yourself, your mind begins to trust that you'll always do what's necessary. That trust becomes belief, and that belief becomes your new reality. Most people wait to believe in themselves before they take action, but it works the other way around. Action creates belief, and discipline is what fuels that action. It teaches you that your feelings don't control your future. Your decisions do. When you commit to a habit and stay consistent, you override excuses and distractions. You prove to yourself that your goals matter more than temporary comfort. This builds character, it sharpens your focus, and it reinforces the idea that you are capable of becoming more. Over time, this self-discipline transforms into a deep, unshakable belief in your potential. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop seeking permission. You operate with certainty because you've earned it. This isn't about being strict or harsh, it's about being aligned with your values. It's about choosing long-term growth over short-term ease. And once you build that internal discipline, you no longer need outside validation. You become your own source of confidence. That's the real power of discipline. It teaches you to believe in yourself through the proof of your own actions. Your value isn't determined by how much time you spend working. It's determined by how much discipline you bring to your time. Time is equal for everyone 24 hours in a day. But how you use those hours makes all the difference. Discipline turns ordinary time into extraordinary progress. When you apply discipline to your day, you create structure, intention, and results. You eliminate waste and distractions. You become focused, effective, and efficient. That's when your value begins to grow, not just to others, but to yourself. Jim Rohn once said, "We don't get paid for the hour, we get paid for the value we bring to the hour." That means it's not about how long you do something. It's about how well you do it, how consistently, and with what kind of mindset. And the tool that sharpens all of that is discipline. It helps you stick to routines, finish what you start, and follow through on what matters. As you become more disciplined, you start to show up differently. You speak with clarity. You act with purpose. People notice. Opportunities appear. Why? Because you're bringing more value, and value is always rewarded. The good news is, this value isn't just professional. It spills into every part of your life. Your relationships improve because you're more present. Your health improves because you make better choices. Your confidence rises because you're doing what you said you would. It all connects back to discipline. The more you develop it, the more valuable you become. Not in a loud or flashy way, but in a quiet, powerful way that speaks for itself. If you want to increase your income, your impact, or your influence, start by increasing your discipline. That's how you multiply the value of every moment you live. Most people feel overwhelmed by the idea of changing their life because they think it requires massive action or a detailed 5-year plan. But the truth is, transformation doesn't begin with big moves. It starts with small, consistent daily actions. You don't need to map out your entire future to start improving your present. All you need is one action, one promise to yourself that you repeat every day with intention. That single act becomes the foundation of momentum. It might not look like much in the beginning, but over time, it becomes the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. Consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or more motivation. You just need to start. Choose something simple and doable. something that aligns with the person you want to become, and commit to doing it every single day. That repetition builds discipline, and discipline creates change. With each day that you honor that small commitment, you strengthen your mindset and increase your belief in yourself. You'll find that taking one small step every day is far more powerful than making occasional big efforts. Big plans can collapse under pressure, but small, steady actions hold strong. They are easier to maintain and harder to break. More importantly, they give you daily wins that reinforce your sense of progress. You start to realize that change isn't about doing everything all at once. It's about doing something, anything, every single day with purpose. You don't need to have all the answers to begin. You just need to move. Because once you're in motion, clarity comes, progress builds, confidence grows, and soon the life you once dreamed about doesn't seem so far away anymore. It becomes real, one small step at a time. When you make a promise to yourself, it carries more weight than any agreement you make with others. It's a personal contract, a silent commitment that says, I matter. My word matters. Unfortunately, many people treat their own promises casually, breaking them without hesitation. But this habit weakens the most important relationship you have, the one with yourself. Every time you break a personal promise, even a small one, you chip away at your confidence. You begin to doubt your ability to change, to grow, or to follow through. Over time, this self-doubt becomes a pattern that holds you back in every area of life. But the opposite is also true. When you start treating your promises like sacred commitments, everything changes. You begin to act with more intention. You start showing up for yourself, not because someone else is watching, but because you respect your own journey. That's when self-leadership begins. You no longer need to be pushed, reminded, or motivated by others. You become your own driving force. This kind of self-respect is rare, but it's powerful. It transforms how you think, how you act, and how you feel about your goals. You're no longer waiting for external approval or validation. You're driven by something internal, something unshakable. It's not about perfection. It's about integrity. It's about proving to yourself, day by day, that you are worthy of trust. When you protect your promises like they are non-negotiable, they begin to shape your identity. You start to see yourself as reliable, disciplined, and capable. And that's when your life begins to shift. Not because of outside forces, but because you've built a foundation of personal integrity. In the end, success isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what you said you would, no matter what.